what we don't want others to see.
Come on now.
It's part of our sin nature. It's our great desire to be socially acceptable. That's important to us. We want to be accepted socially, recognized, and sometimes even honored. We attempt to shield our flaws from the world, but sooner or later we will get bumped or provoked, and the truth comes out. There's one and only one way to prevent embarrassing exposure. Clean out the rats in your basement. Mary was cleaning out her rats. Her act of extreme kindness towards Jesus was her way of apologizing for her actions the day Jesus arrived late for her brother's funeral. You remember what happened. Jesus, he took several days to get to the home of his good friend Lazarus, who was ill. And by the time he arrived, Lazarus had been dead a few days. Mary met Jesus on his approach to the house and said, "If you had been here, my brother would have not died." That was a stinging statement hurled at their dearest friend, and the only one who could save her brother. In hindsight, with her brother now raised from the dead and sitting at the dinner table with Jesus, Mary was moved to right the wrong and shower Jesus with all the love and compassion he deserved. Amen. Jesus can exterminate the rats in our basement and keep them away for good. But he can't do it unless we unlock the basement door and let him in. Let's look at some of the rats Judas had that needed exterminating. Rat number one. Judas was merciless. Mary book revealed that Judas had no compassion for the poor. His words were nothing more than a cover-up for his true character. Judas had no more concern for the poor than he had for Jesus teaching about grace and mercy. We don't know what caused Judas to be so merciless. It could have been a desire to be successful. He had exaggerated ideas about his self-importance. And from his action, we know that he was given to the indulgence of hate and suspicion. We also know that his sense of values and loyalties were defective. In Mark's gospel, he writes that Judas was particularly strong in his criticism. He said that Judas was indignant, growling, rebuking, or scolding. You find that in Mark 14, chapter 4 through 5. It brings to mind the old saying from Shakespeare, "Methinks he doth protest too much." What is starkly clear is that as hard as Jesus tried, his teachings could not pierce that callous heart. Judas had a merciless rat that would not be exterminated. Let me ask you, do you have a passion for the poor? Christians profess to have a generous spirit and willingness to help those less fortunate. But what have you done lately for the poor? It's easy to become callous and unconcerned like Judas. If you don't believe me, when was the last time you gave a few coins or $1 to a homeless beggar? When was the last time you volunteered to help meet the needs of someone struggling in this bad economy? There could be a rat that you need to exterminate. Let me hurry, because I know it's getting hot up in here. Rat number 2. Judas was miserably mercenary. The ointment Mary used to anoint Jesus was worth about 300 denarii on the open market. a year's wages. It's easy to make the legitimate argument that the army